In October, the Duluth Catholic Diocese passed a new sexual misconduct policy, hoping they'd never have to use it. 2 months later, the policy became a blueprint for action after the diocese received sexual abuse allegations against a priest from Bulldog Lake, Minnesota.
Policy was extraordinarily beneficial because it was not a case then of having to sit down and say, well, no, what do we do first? I mean, the strategy is mapped out in the policy. It's very clear.
Following policy guidelines, the diocese immediately offered counseling to the alleged victim and the victim's family, contacted proper authorities, and placed the priest in question on a leave of absence.
We were very concerned that if the allegations were proven to be true, that the victims could still be at risk. And so it was important to remove the priest from the parish immediately.
Today, Father Bill Fournier spent most of the day waiting for information on whether charges would be filed against 73-year-old Father Victor Chateauvier.
We're right now, we're sort of in the dark, sitting here waiting for the Crow Wing County attorney to decide what he's going to do with the material, the evidence that's been presented to him.
The diocese is confused and surprised that the case is moving so slowly, but regardless of what the county attorney decides, church officials say it's their responsibility to protect their parishioners and plan to investigate the allegations themselves.
What we have always been told by legal counsel is that regardless of what law enforcement agencies or county attorneys do, that ultimately we are responsible for who we place in ministerial positions.
Crow Wing County officials have been reluctant to discuss the details of the case, saying the matter is still under investigation. In Duluth, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
Some more information we don't have accurately, okay?
January 14th, and then...
Our kids need a higher priority, and its success or failure will affect this community for so long.
Okay.
Whether it's in print or over the airwaves, Jerry Wilbur has his own way of relating to the great outdoors.
Time now for Jerry Wilbur's Wit and Wisdom of the Great Outdoors, a program for Mom and Dad, Grandma and Grandpa, the kids, for you and yours. And now, here's Jerry Wilbur.
Yeah, I do, I suppose, draw a lot on my own, but I also do a great deal of research, and I have a wild imagination, which doesn't hurt anything. And I listen to what other people tell me.
Jerry's wit and wisdom come across in each of his series of columns about the great outdoors. He currently writes for 11 publications across the Midwest and has just finished his first book. He's also hoping to syndicate his 2-minute radio program. All this in addition to his full-time job as a teacher at Northwestern High School.
I try to work 2-3 hours after school, work on weekends, work on holidays, and that takes care of it. We have a pretty rigid schedule. As a matter of fact, it costs me a little bit of time in the great outdoors, as you could expect. It costs me time with friends as well. Try to save time for family, and that pretty much limits it.
Coming at ya!
But he still finds time to fit everything in. Whether it's ice fishing, skiing, or sliding with his daughter Katie and the neighbor kids, Jerry Wilbur always enjoys the great outdoors.
You got that right. That's the point of it, I guess. Sure. Yeah. If you can do what you want to do and what you love to do and get paid for it, that's double your pleasure, I suppose.
Thanks for listening, and join us again for Jerry Wilbur's Wit and Wisdom of the Great Outdoors.
We'll catch you next time.
un poste de electricidad. Hasta el momento se ha informado que 24 personas murieron y otras 25 resultaron exceso de velocidad sobre un asfalto mojado por las fuertes lluvias que se...
Un camión con 52 pasajeros a bordo se volcó esta mañana en Cancún.
Estadounidenses dijeron que había diferentes versiones sobre la cifra de víctimas. Por otra parte, la agencia informativa Notimex señaló que el autobús transportaba turistas de Estados Unidos, Canadá, Japón, Portugal.
Autobús propiedad del grupo Oasis, placas 253-MM, el cual fue rentado por la agencia Caribevisión, se dirigía a la zona arqueológica de Chichén Itzá con 52 pasajeros de origen norteamericano. Se estrelló contra un poste de alta tensión, incendiándose. Añade el parte oficial que las condiciones húmedas de la carretera fueron las principales causas del accidente.
I don't think anybody in the state of Wisconsin is against getting rid of the drunken driving snowmobilers. But the way you did it was wrong. Your presence should be known during the day as well as at night.
Steve Ave is referring to the first hotspot check of the season, which took place in Hurley during the Red Light Rally, a very busy weekend for snowmobilers. KBJR exclusively filmed the operation, which netted 18 DWI arrests. Consequently, the story made state and national headlines.
The dateline is Hurley, Wisconsin, not the state of Wisconsin. So what happened is you put out news releases to the newspapers, the Milwaukee Journal. USA Today picks it up, and then they condense it down, and it doesn't even read properly anymore. You made a big mistake doing that.
Schneider sent a letter to the governor claiming this negative publicity was scaring off potential tourists. The response was today's meeting held by the DNR and the State Office of Tourism. A crowd of over 100 showed up with questions about the need for this operation in Hurley.
Well, this year I have received 20 reports, snowmobile accidents that have been sent to my office, and Howard Young Medical Institute alone has treated over 54 snowmobile victims. And there's a significant underreporting of the problem that is occurring out there.
Local merchants are doing all they can to deter snowmobilers from drinking and driving. They've even gone as far as printing up signs such as these, reminding them of the dangers and costs involved. But for some, those warnings came too late, and the town of Hurley is now paying the price.
But the way you guys did it in Hurley really hurt. I mean, our business hasn't been the same since this happened.
The state sympathized with Hurley's dilemma and said they would continue to promote tourism there, but offered no special financial assistance. The DNR stressed that more checks will continue through the season. In Hurley, Janine Johnson, News 6.
The purpose of these rallies is to call for progressive tax reform as the solution to the state's revenue shortfall, as opposed to either deep budget cuts or a sales tax on clothing.
Yeah, 6. Probably know of anybody. Apparently had a fuel problem with his aircraft, maybe due to icing. We don't know the exact cause. And he was able to land on the roadway, but because of the ice on the roadway, when the plane touched down, it started to veer off the roadway, and the wingtip struck a tree.
You're on that wheel there.
Yeah, sitting on the wheel.
Gas in my airplane.
There's gas in the airplane, so the only conclusion is that there was some kind of a problem in the fuel line itself that bringing gas to the engine.
This is kind of funny.
Okay. Up this way, down this way?
The Elvis stamp was issued.
It's amazing. Yes, it's an honor, but of course the competition, I'm very much secondary to this event. Good for the Postal Service, good for the community, and of course the Elvis fans especially.
Now the sign, you guys stir it away. Sam, take one. Now the sign says Elvis is in the building.
Okay. Let's go.
Trail is excellent. The temperature is excellent. We've been lucky, I think, the last 3 years that we've had good trail conditions, and this year again, it's a good hard packed surface. There isn't any new fresh snow. The temperature is just right for running dogs. It isn't too warm for them while they're working to get overtired in the heat. So it's a great conditions for a race this year.
Yeah. Now, you have raced before, right? "300 yards out of the Tofty checkpoint this morning, Robin Jacobson's dog sat down on the trail and refused to go any farther. Jacobson patiently worked with the dogs to get them to move, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. Finally, after 5 hours, Jacobson gave up, turned the team around, and headed back down the hill. He had been in second place.
I don't have my older reliable leaders, and these guys have kind of been switching on and off since Portage, and they're kind of sick of leading, so they just stopped, and I tried a bunch of dogs in lead, and nobody would go, so we sat there for a while. And I figured I needed some dog food, so.
Jacobson had to drop his lead dogs in Grand Portage and Skyport. Now the musher hopes a little food and more rest will put the bounce back in the dog's steps.
It's happened to people before, but I guess it's my turn.
Jacobson's predicament makes the race for second place a whole lot more interesting. Nearby, 2 other contenders, Doug Swingley and Jamie Nelson, are getting ready to leave. But Jacobson's not ready to give up yet.
Yeah, I said it's a dog race. Anything can happen.
In Tofty, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
Right after the holidays, exercise classes throughout the Northland saw an increase in numbers. Probably the most common New Year's resolution was a pledge to lose weight. But wasn't that your resolution last year? And how about the year before? And did it work? If you're like the average dieter, you probably lost a few pounds, but put it right back on again, and maybe even gained a few more on top of that.
I've been on every diet that ever existed, and I quit dieting numerous years ago and determined that it's okay to be overweight.
With the dismal success rate of diets and exercising, that decision is not uncommon. Statistics indicate from 90 to 95% of diets fail, and worse than the psychological effect that has on dieters is the effect it has on their bodies.
We know that yo-yo dieting is a severe health risk. So going up and down is worse than not changing at all.
But the experts say you don't have to give up. You can lose weight and keep it off. But it's not as easy as many of those who sell diet products and push diet fads suggest. At a seminar on weight loss, Dr. Doan told the crowd the first thing to do is to learn to understand how the body deals with the calories you consume and how your body reacts to exercise.
And your body goes, oh God, there she goes again.
She suggests spending time learning more about your system and less time looking for a quick fix diet. It gave the audience something to chew on.
You know, and I don't think I eat that much, but what I realize is that my body has been affected by all the trying to lose weight all these years.
Dr. Doan says the only way to safely and effectively lose weight and keep it off is to make a lifestyle change that includes eating healthy foods with a concentration on starches, fruits, and vegetables. She admits a lifestyle change is not easy, but she says it's the only diet that really works. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
This infant was shaken so hard he's now permanently paralyzed from the neck down. The responsible party, a boyfriend to the mother, is serving a 16-year jail term. This baby suffered similar trauma but is doing much better, almost a full recovery. One of the parents is currently on trial for child abuse. Cases like these are very difficult to investigate.
We don't often have clues on the outside, but we do have clues on the inside, the brain being injured, the retina, the back of the eye being injured severely. And we also know that babies, particularly young babies under 3 months of age, almost never get injured in severe accidents. So if they had blood in the head, if they had cerebral edema, if they have retinal hemorrhages, subdural hemorrhages, these are the areas around the brain that bleed, then these are very likely, almost always caused by shaking injury, an abusive injury to the baby.
Some abuse is more obvious than others, a slap on the face, whipping marks on a back. But this bruise could easily be mistaken for abuse when in fact it was caused by an accident involving a toy truck. Distinguishing between this fine line is a tough job.
Probably the largest problems is that police officers and public in general do not want to admit that this is occurring. It's a difficult thing to even fathom. So I think the biggest thing we have to get across to the individual is that you have to approach it like a death scene, and if you do that and follow the guidelines that have been presented, hopefully the end result will be the right one.
Looking at these newborn babies here, it's hard to imagine anybody wanting to harm them. Unfortunately, it does happen. Thousands of children are abused every year. Many cases go unreported. Professionals who deal with this on a daily basis say the time has come for society to admit that a problem exists and deal with it. In Duluth, Janine Johnson, News 6.
The huge new Black Bear Casino was to open in July with its own sewage plant, dumping treated wastewater into Otter Creek. Anglers said no, fearing it would ruin the trout stream. Public outcry resulted in angry meetings and a public relations nightmare for the tribe. Now, the Twin Lakes Town Board may have solved the problem, voting to fund construction of a new sewer line.
We have an agreement going now with engineers supporting, the township will support a sewer line. And we will go through a loan money through MPCA for the first stage, which goes straight from Carlton to the casino.
The casino had said the sewer line was too expensive at first. They had already invested $250,000 in an on-site treatment plant. Officials have now changed their minds. The plant will be moved to the Fond du Lac Reservation. The new sewer line means revenue and development for Twin Lakes. There's already talk of a new motel.
Well, this is good news one way because it'll bring a lot of business into the community, added possibility of added motels and other businesses on the Junction area out here.
There are still some questions, like will the sewer line be done in time for the July 4th grand opening of the casino? The town board expects completion by July 2nd. The casino is seeking permits to operate the plant until the sewer line is done. A hearing this week on those permits is expected to draw opposition from a vocal group of anglers and environmentalists. Near Carlton, Dave Jensch, News 6.